Comfortable to get photographed, please use red stickers. You can find the red stickers at the registration desk, which you can put it on your ID card so that the photographers here, our communications team, know that you do not want yourself to be photographed. So we will take care of that as well. Regarding the washrooms, you can see you have to move out of this hall. You have to walk straight downstairs and take again stairs. You'll see the washrooms right in front of you. The programs are in 3 different halls: Regal, Senate, and Darbar Hall. So there are instructions on digital security sign-up, for which I would like to invite Fabiola Hernandez, member of the Guardian Project.
Please welcome her on the stage. Fabiola, we want you on the stage. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good morning, how are you?
Keep the mic a little bit
What
closer.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Hello everyone. Good morning, how are you? We are the help desk. We're going to be with you today and tomorrow, providing device scanning, sorry. We also have the Senate room at the front of the main stairs, and we're going to be having a round table today about deepfakes and generative AI, if you want to join us. What time is that?
It's in the afternoon, around 3 and 4. So, and in case you guys have any device-related issues or device audit you want, then you can reach the help desk. And in the afternoon, we will also cover the risks of metadata. So there are a few things that we can discuss. If you like, you can join us as well. And tomorrow we have another session. It's on like community risk management in terms of digital security. So as a part of help desk, we will try to assist you on anything related to digital security and psychosocial security. So yeah, kindly reach us out. Yeah.
So just to give you all a bit of a background too, the help desk is a project that was co-created by 28 organizations and activist groups across the world that provides on-demand support for digital, psychosocial, physical security, and legal assistance as well. It's available via the website, which you can get at our help desk booth, as well as Telegram, Signal, and WhatsApp. Am I missing anything else? An email, of course, an email. So yeah, please come visit us at our booth. It's right outside, and we have a lot of nice swag for you all too that's going to run out quickly.
Oh yeah, we are playing a digital security game, so if you come by to our desk, you can play the game and get some really cool swag. There is also a bingo game you can play throughout the rest of the conference, where you can get a bigger prize. So please come by and learn about those and join our sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fabiola and team, the members of Guardian Project. Moving towards the program, we're already running a bit late.
Can I interrupt you in
Yes.
between? So thank you, Fabiola. And if any of you want to get your devices audited, whether it's your laptop, whether it's your phone, please reach out to Fabiola and the team, because there might be any malware, or you don't know, I mean, like what has been downloaded in your phone. So please get in touch with them. Thanks.
Thank you, Sanjeev. So moving towards the event, without further ado, I would like to request Ujjwal Acharya. Please join me in inviting Ujjwal Acharya, moderator of our upcoming panel discussion. The topic is the past, present, and future of digital conversations in Nepal. Please help me invite Ujjwal Acharya on the stage.
And join me in welcoming Kunda Dikshit, Sudip Vice Subedi, Sabita Acharya. Yeah, thank you. Now over to you, Ujjwalji. The mic is yours, floor is yours. We can get down.
Namaste. Since we are all Nepali in the panel, probably at some point of our panel discussion, some of us would like to speak in Nepali, so it's better if you are not a native Nepali speaker or if you don't understand Nepali to get a translation devices. Welcome to Kathmandu. The weather outside is cold, but our hearts are warm to welcome you all in Kathmandu. My name is Ujjwal Acharya, and I am the director for CMR Nepal Journalism Academy. I have been a journalist and a blogger by heart. And in 2007, when I wrote for Global Voices, I had this wish that I would someday participate in Global Voices Summit. And here I am, so I'm very, very happy to be here. Let me begin by introducing my panel. This session is on digital conversation in Nepal, past, present, and future. Mr. Kunda Dixit here needs no introduction because globally he has been the face of Nepali journalism for many decades now. He is the publisher and former editor of Nepali Times Weekly, journalist since early 80s, and the author of a book that I believe is more relevant than ever. He wrote it in 1997. The first it was published in 1997. It's called Deadline Earth, Journalism as if the Planet Mattered. It's a very good book. He's also a visiting faculty at the New York University campus in Abu Dhabi. And the quality that I really admire about Kunda is that he experiments with new forms of communication all the times. When Himal Media, the media he co-founded, went online in 1997. It was the first Nepali media to have its own domain. When he started Nepali Times long way back in 2000, it went online before it was printed. So it started off as an online magazine before it went into the print thing. That was the time in 2000 when online media in Nepal wasn't that, nobody saw a prospect on online media actually. So he can talk about his experiments with online media, his experiments with blog, videos, newsletters, and everything that has come all the way during all those almost more than 40 years he has been a journalist. My other two panelists are digital natives. Sudeep Bhai Subedi has an engineering degree, but he told me he had never draw engineering thing. He's a full-time founder, full-time working in In-Depth Story, a social media-based media, primarily focused on videos on YouTube. He founded In-Depth Story in 2020, which now has nearly 500,000 subscribers. Sorry, I'm not related to her by blood. Savita is a co-founder and content creator of Gulabi Sambad, a podcast on sexual and reproductive health, as well as mental health. She co-founded it with one of her colleagues in 2020. Before that, she used to work with radio and has some experience with producing a podcast for a CSO organization. Gulabi Sambad uploads weekly, and their podcast is also broadcast by more than 3 dozen radio stations all over Nepal. So with that, before I begin, I'll just give you a very brief outline of the digital communication or the conversation scenario in Nepal. It's just a cornerstones of some history in Nepal. In 1992 is the first online thing to begin this kind of conversation or communication online. The Nepali Times served, it operated for almost like a decade and served around 1,000 to 1,200 subscribers at a time on average. Then in 1995-97, around that time, some of Nepalese media started going online, putting their content online, including Kunda's Himal magazine, which went online on its own domain. And in around 2004 and 2005, blogging was talked about a lot. Blogging was the talk of the town, followed by independent online media. Until then, most of the media were run by the mainstream. It was like the online version of the mainstream media. From 2011-12, all these social media platforms started getting the tractions. And since COVID, it's more visual, especially on YouTube and TikTok. With that, I'd like to begin with Kunda. I just want to know what makes you keep adapting and experimenting with new platforms of communication, especially at Nepali Times. And is it FOMO, fear of missing out, or something else?
Yeah, it is FOMO. Now that you know how old I am, I guess I can say that I began with typewriters. We went into electric typewriters. That was a big change, linotype in press. And now we summarize our stories for social media posts through AI and also do video scripts through ChatGPT. So yeah, the technology has changed so fast in my own career that we've used all these different tools to communicate. When I graduated from Columbia Journalism School in New York, we were the last class in the class of '85 that still used typewriters. We didn't have computers. And the other our professor telling us, it doesn't matter what tool you use to write, the more important thing is to know how to tell a good story. And I think that's still relevant today. So no matter how many stories to tell.
I see that Nepali Times does a lot of experiment, and I really appreciate the way, because a lot of media are reluctant at time to experiment with the new technology, but you do that. And now I would go to Savita and Sudeep. I have one initial question for both of you. Why did you start IDS and Gulabi Sambad? Why a new platform? Did you see a financial prospect there, or was it something else? Financial prospect there, or was it something else?
Thank you, Uzul sir. I will answering my own language. Thank you, Uzul sir. I will answering my own language, Nepali. हामी यो यस्तो ठाउँबाट आएको, हामीले यो काम गर्दैछौँ, हामी विद्यार्थीहरूसँग एकछिन डिस्कसन गर्छौँ भन्दाखेरि उहाँले चाहिँ के भन्नुभयो भने स्ट्रिक्टली नै तपाईहरु क्लासमा गएर यौन स्वास्थ्यको बारेमा कुरा गर्न पाउनुहुन्न महिनावारी.
Like the audience at that time felt like they were being taught by an elder brother, because our videos were generally explainer type of the videos. So we used to explain about socio-political issues, histories, content, in our audience felt like someone elder brother is speaking with them. So that sense of communication, that sense of connection attracted us towards making more videos. And when I completed my bachelor's degree, then after that I started, I was totally invested in it. Then after that I made a team. So we have the team of now 8 to all it has always been about.
Yeah, I think the thing that they said, either explicitly or not so explicitly, that resonates with a lot of us here, because as my co-founder for the first blog of Nepal, Dinesh, was saying this morning, that by heart we all are blogger. And when we started blogger, it's more of a passion, more of a thought that I want to write something that's not being covered in other. So I think that resonates with a lot of us. And I kind of appreciate Sudeep, and I have a really nice example that I give to my trainee at the academy on when they do courses on video, is that there is a comparable video in his channel. It's called Will Gyanendra, that's our king, now our king. Will Gyanendra return to power? At the same time, within a difference of a week, one other very, very well-known face in Disha Nirdesh TV, he is a kind of like household name in Nepali journalism. He uploaded the video with a same title, Will King Return to Power? And the video, if I looked at it yesterday, and I saw that the video that Sudeep Bhai Subedi, who is virtually unknown to us probably the Gen before 2000, his video, one video has got 1.4 million views. And this other video that's uploaded by a very, very well-known journalist, a household name, journalistically probably very correct video, has only around 220,000 views, almost like 7 times more views that Sudeep had. That also tells us where the new generation is moving. So Sudeep, you said you saw the young people, the information they need in the way that they need, right? So did the established media miss out something, leaving gaps for media like yours to emerge?
Okay, thank you. So, talking about Vijay Kumar Pandey sir, he has always been like a digital guru for us, for the newcomers. His book, I have read the book Khushi, and that book might have somewhere created impact on me for starting the YouTube channel also. So, we always have that kind of respect for him. Talking about the specific video, maybe it is because not just that video, many videos we make. So as I already said, it feels like an elder brother is talking to you. Our video feels like an elder brother talking to you, elder brother explaining you something. So many young audience can connect with us through that. And again, I think the way of presentation or the way of storytelling, so these kind of things also might have played certain role, because our videos are in the form of visual storytelling. We just play, we show few graphics, we show few data around there. So such things might have also aided the retention. So such things might have also gained audience retention. Things might have hooked the audience to stay till the end. So whenever someone stays till the end, or whenever someone watches the video more than 50%, or if the video is about 15 minutes, and if lots of audience watch it more than 7 or 8 minutes, then that video is supposed to blow up or supposed to go viral. So so social media is all based on algorithm, and maybe our video fitted on that algorithm. So that's why that video and many videos are getting a huge number of views, I think.
Sudeep didn't talk explicitly, so I want to ask Kunda, did we miss something? Did the world media miss something there?
Yes, definitely. When I see Sudeep's videos and I see 1.4 million views on a story that we had done, where, as you said, I mean, we didn't even get 200,000, we got like 2,000. So there is, I think, a technique that he has perfected which really appeals to that age group, the target group, and the racy way of telling the story, the headlining, you know, as उहाँले भनेको जस्तो दाजुले भाइलाई अर्थाएको जस्तो गरेर बताउने के story. So it's very accessible messaging, which we have missed out. I think we're old dogs and you can't teach us new tricks. We try to learn new tricks, but we're not very good at it. And I think we have a lot to learn from the others on YouTube, the YouTube journalists who are doing exactly the same stories as we are, but reaching the public that we can't reach. I think I'll invite you over to our office to give us some tutorials.
Savita here, although she is a podcaster, she prides herself. Your podcast still is broadcasted in around 26 radio stations all over Nepal. And I see that sometimes when you raise very important issues on your podcast, two of you co-founders, you still write articles for newspapers and online media, probably to reach more population that podcaster could not reach. Why? Why you still use world media?
Why? को answer चाहिँ नेपालको रिसेन्ट म एउटा तपाईहरुलाई डाटा भन्छु हैन नेपाल टेलिकमले गरेको एउटा रिसर्चले चाहिँ के देखाउँछ भने नेपालमा 1 करोड 54 लाख मान्छेले चाहिँ इन्टरनेट युज गर्नुहुन्छ हैन यस कास्ट हुन्छ अनि अब आर्टिकलको कुरा गर्दाखेरि कति मान्छेको सुन्ने बानी हुँदैन कसैलाई चाहिँ पढ्न मन लाग्छ हैन त्यो हुँदाखेरि हामीले यस्तो इस्युहरुलाई उजागर गरिरहेको छौं यस्तो सेन्सिटिभ इस्युहरुलाई ल्याइरहेको छौं भने व्हाई नट पब्लिश गर्ने पेपरमा पनि वर्गको कुनै पनि क्षेत्रको मान्छेले चाहिँ सुन्न अथवा पढ्नबाट चाहिँ पछि नपर्नुहोस् भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ हामीले यो ट्रेडिसनल मिडियालाई पनि युज गरिरहेको छौं र अलिकता ग्रामीण क्षेत्रमा गएर हेर्ने हो भने चाहिँ यो रेडियोको क्रेज चाहिँ अझै पनि एकदमै राम्रो छ सो हामीले रेडियोमा प्रसारण गर्नुको कारण चाहिँ त्यो पनि हो
Okay, so that brings me to Kunda again. So about the present context, if you look at the digital conversation ecosystem right now in Nepal, where do you see us? What is the present of digital conversation, especially when we talk about, let's say, being our digital conversation not going in the right direction because of the misinformation, disinformation, and the intolerance there, and the thing that Savita also raised, that we are not probably in the context of marginalized communities going?
Well, I think we're in crisis. The business model of media, traditional media, legacy and linear media has collapsed. And this was exacerbated by COVID, but it predates COVID. We ourselves, we stopped printing our hard copy, we sold our printing press. So we were forced to learn new tricks and get into the business of digital. The problem now is that although we have the eyeballs and readership on the online editions have hit the roof, but revenue is zero. So the big problem now, maybe not for in-depth news and for non-funded media outlets on the internet, is that you cannot get enough yield from advertising on your site to be able to run a newsroom. Now, because I think Sudeep's got very low overheads, he can manage that with his income. But for traditional media, there's no other way but to cut costs, which is how we have survived. And I think that crisis in the media coincides with the crisis of democracy, the erosion of free press, fake news, the deep fakes, and the disinformation, which is leading to despots manipulating the social media to get elected. And then once they get elected to office, they dismantle the very institutions of democracy that got them to that position of power. So the big crisis, media erosion, media survival, and democratic decay. And there, I think there are certain good examples of how it's done. I think reaching the younger generation is one way. And there, the trick is, I think, to package it properly. Readers are no longer viewers. Readers are no longer going to come to us. We have to go to them. And to go to them, we have to make it and package it in a way that they have access to it through their devices, through their laptops. But we have found, just to wrap this up, that there's still revenue in print. And this is true not just in Nepal, but also in neighboring India, where with its 7% economic growth, there is enough advertising to keep print media afloat. So many companies, media companies in India, for example, have revenue both from print as well as from online. And so they have it both ways. And so they have no problem at the moment with survival. But I would give print media maybe another 5 years before the sun sets.
So do you see, like, when we see a lot of YouTube people or the digital native content creators that are getting a lot of traction, whereas the media like ours is facing the crisis, do you see it as a natural transition of power, a natural change of guard? Or is that there are things that we need to be concerned about? It's not going in the right way.
Not change of power so much, but it's intergenerational change. And we've had this before. I think when computers first came out, when the internet first came, there was this euphoria that, information would be democratized, there'd be a level playing field. Didn't happen. I think there is still the digital divide. But no, now with the advances, and as Savita was saying, 94% of Nepalis having mobile phones, 65% of those having internet and smartphones, means that the information we can now leapfrog into reaching everyone through their devices. And that is, I think, the opportunity that we have to take.
And Sudeep and Savita, do you see like the young people, the marginalized people, or let's say the people that are generally not solved the contents, information previously, are they getting the right content right now?
So again, adding few things to both of my panelists. One thing, when Savita ma'am was talking about the audience, female audience, so only 20% of our viewers are female, whereas 80% are male. So we are not being able to reach to large chunk of a female audience, even through our medias again. And again, I think the reason content creators like us got evolved, or we started getting traction, is we have very low operating cost. We do not have a big studio. We do not have big team. So we have a very low operating cost, and so that could be the reason why. Again, so another thing is we do not push a lot of content. We only make 4-6 contents in a month, and we give almost 7 to 10 days for a content to be prepared. So that could be the another reason. And I think the media scene all over the world is being converted from a bigger screen to a smaller screen. So people don't. As Source said, people don't source, or people don't reach out to something. We have to reach out to them. We have to find a way so to reach them. So we went back in 2020 when we started YouTube. So TikTok was again one of the place where we did not want to go, but people started cutting our videos and started uploading there, and we saw that we started getting huge number of views in TikTok than in YouTube. So we thought that we have to adapt there, we have to go there, we have to make content from them. So platform can never be good or bad. When there are audience, we have to reach for them, and we have to find the way they are updating, or they are getting their news. So if they want the news to be in the visual forms, we have to put it in that way. If they want the news to be in the text form, we have to put it that way. So I think this could be the reason why so YouTubers or creators like us are getting the traction. Again, it's not just the number, but it's the huge responsibility that we are getting, and the discussion like this adds more responsibility to us. It makes us more focused, or more answerable to our audience.
यसमा चाहिँ जस्तो मलाई लागेको चाहिँ हामीले अडियन्सलाई के दिइराछौँ भन्दा पनि अडियन्सले के चाहिरहेको छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ अझै राम्रोसँग आइडेन्टिफाई गर्न नसकेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पनि हामीले जति रिच हुनुपर्ने हो त्यो चाहिँ नभएको हो कि जस्तो लाग्छ। हामीले त्यसको लागि अघि सुदीपजीले भन्नुभएको जस्तै हामीले कस्तो खालको कन्टेन्ट बनाउने, कस्तो खालको इन्फर्मेसनहरू दिने भन्ने कुरामा चाहिँ ख्याल गर्नुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ। यो डिजिटल प्लेटफर्ममा चाहिँ जस्तो आज एउटा कुनै एउटा ल मानौँ टिकटककै एउटा सानो भिडियो हेऱ्यो भने अल्गोरिदमले त्यही अनुसारको भिडियो मात्रै ल्याइदिन्छ हामीलाई, होइन? सो त्यो इन्फर्मेसन चाहिँ हाम्रो लिसनरले, हाम्रो अडियन्सले चाहिँ रिच आउट गर्न खोजेको इन्फर्मेसन हो कि होइन भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ हामीले ध्यान दियो भने राइट इन्फर्मेसन हामीले प्रोभाइड गर्न सक्छौँ, र हाम्रो अडियन्सले पनि त्यही अनुसारको इन्फर्मेसन चाहिँ ग्यादर गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ।
Okay, before I open the panel for questions from the audience, I would ask kind of like a wide scope question to all of you. How do you see the future of all this, the digital conversation, maybe in 5 or 10 years?
I'm the past, so I think I'll leave the future to these young people. But yeah, I think we have a huge challenge. I think journalists should not see themselves as gatekeepers anymore. I think we are mediators, and we are taking what the public needs, what the public wants, and you're getting that information out in the right way back to the public, so that important decisions can be made, so the public is made aware. The big dilemma with is that what do you do? You can say that you have to give the public what the public wants, but what if the public only wants cat videos? But then, so what is the role of us journalists? I mean, we are taught in journalism school to be curators of information. So we curate what's happening. We say, okay, this is what's important for the country, for society, and that's why presenting it to you. So the big challenge, I think, for us now is in-depth news. Is that in the 30-minute video explains behind the scenes what's happening. We also do that, but we don't reach the public. He does. And I think we have a lot to learn from that for the future. And I leave it up to you guys.
5 or 10 years मा चाहिँ डिजिटल एरा कस्तो हुन्छ भनेर त के फेसबुकमा हैन के आयो पढ्न जान्नुहुन्न तर हेर्नुहुन्छ उहाँले अनि हामीलाई त्यो हरियो देखेको छ कि छैन कलर हेरेर फोन गर्नुहुन्छ भिडियो कल हैन त्यो हुँदाखेरि पढ्दै नपढेको मान्छेले पनि यो जेनेरेसन यो टाइमलाई चाहिँ उहाँहरूले इन्जोय गरिराख्नु भएको छ भनेपछि अबको 5 अथवा 10 इयर्समा चाहिँ डिजिटल प्लेटफर्म अथवा डिजिटल ट्रान्सफर्मेसन 10 इयर्समा यसले चाहिँ एकदमै राम्रो फड्को मार्छ होला र हामीले युज गर्ने मिडियम कस्तो हुन्छ भन्ने मात्रै हो तर अलिकति भन्ने मान्छेहरु तर रेडियोलाई चाहिँ उहाँहरूले अब यो राख्न पर्छ है यो जोगाउनु अझै राम्रो त हुँदै जान्छ मिडियम कुन हुन्छ र हामीले त्यसलाई कसरी युज गर्छौं भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ हामीले 5 अथवा 10 इयर्सको पछाडीको फ्युचर हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यसरी हेर्न सकिन्छ होला
थ्याङ्क यू यसलाई चाहिँ मैले अलिकति नेपालीमै भन्न चाहे सो एउटा चीज चाहिँ के हो भने मिडिया हैज अलवेज बीन अबाउट फ्याक्ट्स र द फ्याक्ट दैट फ्याक्ट्स कम फर्स्ट सो सीएनएन ले पनि एकचोटि फ्याक्ट्स फर्स्ट भनेर भनेको थियो सो त्यो चीज इज नेभर चेन्जिङ एनी टाइम किनकि भोलिको दिनमा मिडिया जे भए पनि मिडियम जे भए पनि द फ्याक्ट दैट फ्याक्ट हैज टु कम फर्स्ट इज नट गोइङ अर इज नट चेन्जिङ एनी टाइम सुन अनि अर्को भने चाहिँ म डिजिटल स्पेसमै भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि यो युट्युबमा सोसल मिडियामा भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ एउटा चीज चाहिँ मैले देखा के हुन सक्छ भने यो सोसल मिडिया पेजेसहरु विल कन्भर्ट इन्टु अ मिडिया कम्पनी अनि मिडिया कम्पनी विल कन्भर्ट इन्टु आईटी कम्पनी जस्तो लाग्छ इभेन्चुअली किनकि इफ दे डोन्ट डु दैट त्यो एक्जिस्ट नरला भन्ने लागिरहेछ किनकि इन्डिभिजुअल कन्टेन्ट क्रिएटरहरु पनि अब अहिले मिडियाको रूपमा दर्ता भएर मिडिया नै भएर सबै सोशल मिडिया भरि नै त्यसरी लागिरहनु भएको छ र अर्को चीज चाहिँ हामीले युट्युब हेरिराख्दाखेरि अथवा चाहिँ युट्युबकै अराउन्डमा युट्युबको क्रिएटर्सहरु उहाँहरुले कुरा गरिरहेको कुरा सुन्दाखेरि चाहिँ आई थिंक एआई यस्तो वेमा आउनेवाला छ कि हामीले इमेजिनै गरेका छैन आई थिंक 10 इयर्स फ्रम नाउ हामीले त्यति कन्टेन्ट बनाइरहनु पर्दैन कन्टेन्ट चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ होला भन्दाखेरि समवन विल ओपन अहिले कस्तो भइराछ भन्दाखेरि अहिले मेरो जेनेरेसन अफ पिपल अथवा चाहिँ मेरो बाबाको जेनेरेसन अफ पिपल अथवा मेरो हजुरबाको जेनेरेसन अफ पिपलको फोनमा आउने कुराहरु त्यो फरक छ तर भोलिको दिन कुरामा हामीले काम गर्न पर्छ होला तर मेबी भोलिको दिनमा कन्टेन्ट चाहिँ ऑडियन्सले हो त्यसरी खोज्दाखेरि एल्गोरिदमले चाहिँ हाम्रो फर्म अफ भिडियोज जुन हामीले बनाएको पनि होइन सो त्यो फर्ममा चाहिँ एक्सप्लेन दरबार हत्याकाण्ड अथवा चाहिँ दरबार मसाकर द वे इन्डेक्स स्टोरी वुड डू द वे भक्स वुड डू अथवा एक्सप्लेन दिस न्यूज द वे गार्जियन वुड डू अथवा चाहिँ द वे बीबीसी वुड राइट भन्ने वेमा चाहिँ त्यो वेमा इभल्भ हुन्छ भन्ने खाले प्रेडिक्सन भएको थियो अनि आई थिंक दैट इज अहिले सुन्दा ल हो र भन्ने खाले फिल हुन्छ बिकज 10 इयर्स ब्याक पनि यो त इमेजिन गरेको थिएन नि त सो मेबी दैट थिङ कुड कम जस्तो लाग्छ आई थिंक
सुदीपले भनेको सत्य तथ्य महत्त्वपूर्ण छ भन्नुभयो नि फ्याक्ट्स आर इम्पोर्टेन्ट तर आजकल कस्तो जमाना आयो भने जे सत्य तथ्य हो त्यसमा बस्दै छैन मान्छेहरुलाई आफ्नो पहिलेदेखिको विश्वास जेमा छ त्यसमै विश्वास गर्ने र एल्गोरिदमले यसलाई त्यसलाई पेलिरहेछ हैन त्यसैले आफ्नो जुन सिद्धान्त विश्वास छ त्यसलाई झन्झन कट्टर बनाउँदै गइरहेछ त्यसैले सो व्हाट यु डू when facts don't matter. You know, that is the big challenge for your generation, I think. When facts won't matter in an election or in politics, then how are we, the journalists who are supposed to be dispensing facts. How do we react to that, and how do we deal with it? That's a big question.
Stop on it, but I didn't want to start the morning with a lot of challenges, confusion, and scary things about the future. I wanted to look more into the positive side of it. But there obviously is the topic I taught, I think, over these 2 days, a lot of this will be a recurring theme here. I just have a few more minutes, I think, so I want to open the panel for any questions that you.
Good morning. I'm Cecilia Maundu. I'm a journalist from Nairobi, Kenya. My question to the panelists on your immediate left. You said the audience, we don't go to the audience. The audience, we are the ones to go to the audience, not them coming to us. And the audience nowadays is so dynamic. You give them this, tomorrow they want something different. You know, it's like a rat race, you can't keep up. So how do we also manage that? Because by the end of the day, we are not AI, we are human beings, you know.
Beautiful, free Palestine, free Congo, free all the indigenous people, and free Mukumlung. I think without voicing it out, we can't start global summit or the platform like this. I'm Kavita Bahing, an indigenous feminist lawyer and also a writer, and I'm also working as a digital rights activist. I'm associated with Alaya that works for the movement lawyering and also in Open Internet Nepal. So first of all, my reflection was like, I was hoping to have some activists from the community in the panel that I couldn't see. That was kind of sad note for me, from my side. I now want to go to the questions. So my question for Kundaji is like, it's obviously incomplete without talking about the social reality, social complexities, right? And whenever there is the conversation about the digital rights or like anything that's around freedom of expressions and all, it's generally limited into the journalistic expressions and security, right? But when we are talking about the future conversations or like digital conversation, it should include the issues of the marginalized people, issues of that restrictive laws that is like really restricting the rights of the people. So my questions to you is like, how do you see as you are taking this space and also kind of representing Nepalese like scenario in the digital conversation? How do you see all these marginalized issues? How can digital space, beyond just journalistic space, how can we really address these issues? And what do you do to address it? And my question to the Sudeep, as a digital storyteller, and for me, stories and narrative shifting is a very important part of my engagement and association with storytelling. And you are also like taking this, occupying digital spaces to tell the story, shifting the narrative. For me, I'll be very curious to know what is your intention? What do you expect? What inspires, or like what's your main motivation to be, or like to take this like opportunity of digital storytelling? Because I think it is more than likes, shares, and thoughts. So I really want to know what is your like intention around the digital storytelling and what role it can play to really change the social imbalance, all these issues. When sexual expressions and these issues are talked and they are always like sidelined, or we can experience a lot of backlashes. I really wish a lot of luck for you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Do I want to answer? Because there are two questions, I think.
I also have a question. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I'm here. Namaskar everyone, I'm Regina and I also belong to an indigenous community, that is Magar community. So Jhorle, that's called Namaste in Magar language to everyone. So my question is like, I'm more curious, and like in social media platform, nowadays mostly defaming and negative perspective is going in high benchmark rather than the positive contents. And defame is also a fame, like people are mostly Gen Z generation or young youngsters are taking in a bad way. My question is how digital platform like you, independent channels platform lacking the ethics of journalism, which is, I think, very important to ensure the cyber security perspective as well. And I believe digital platforms and digital creators has huge responsibility to emphasize and to draw the attention of government also for the laws and policy in terms of cyber security, because here in Nepal we have only one cyber bureau, that is also Nepal. So my question is that I want to hear your answers and opinions in regarding this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir,
We'll go to
Ujjwal
the
sir,
panelists.
Can I also ask the question so that the panel can answer the question in the...
I think that would be the last question.
Yeah,
but
okay,
yeah, of
sure.
course.
Hello everyone, namaste. I'm Sanjina Chhetri, a digital rights advocate, a lawyer as well. I am one of the 20% of those females that that was the in-depth story. So maybe not all, but most of those. So my question is to Sudeep sir. You know your reach and the effect you can bring to the general the corruption. The way you penetrated a call of accountability from the elected representative of people, we can understand the impact of your video is able to create on the youth or your viewers from that as well. And the way you just said you deliver your links, so kudos to that as well. But how do you ensure your content remains factual and unbiased while discussing sensitive topics like history and politics? Because in those topics, the presenter might be giving his opinion or his or her opinion as well. So how do you ensure that is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Now to the panelists, because we only have less than 5 minutes left.
I think to the, shall I go first?
Yes.
Yeah. The question from Kenya, I think the way to be different than the others, what the others are doing. And the second question was on how do we report on the marginalized. In our paper, and also because I teach journalism, I give the example of the scale of justice. You know, when you go to the courts, there's always a scale of social justice. And it's always balanced. Both sides are equal. But what do you do in a society or globally where the scale of social justice is skewed, where one side is more powerful, heavier, has more say, has more of some kind of a balance? And I think we are doing that quite well in Nepal. Our mainstream media today is giving much more space to underprivileged communities and marginalized people than before. Much more needs to be objective. That has to change. I think we should not really strive for objectivity, total objectivity, because it is unattainable. We are all subjective to some point or the other. I think it's more important to be fair, listen to all sides, and be fair in your reporting. I think I'll leave cybersecurity to you.
Yeah. Sudeep.
Thank you. Surma, let me address you. How do you ensure your opinion or wala kuraharu? We did not used to do earlier. पहिला पहिला चाहिँ यो त्यति धेरै हामीलाई पनि थाहा नभएको कारणले गर्ने गरेको थिएन. तर रिसेन्टली चाहिँ हामीले हाम्रो ओपिनियनलाई यो चाहिँ ओपिनियन हो है भनेरै भनिरा पनि हुन्छौँ र साइडमा त्यो लेखेर पनि राखिरा हुन्छौँ र फ्याक्चुअल कुराहरूलाई चाहिँ कुनबाट अथवा कहाँबाट ल्या सोर्स हो भनेर चाहिँ यता साइडमा अथवा चाहिँ रेफरेन्सेस भनेर डिस्क्रिप्सनमा पनि राखिरा हुन्छौँ. सो डुइङ द्याट त्यसले एउटा चिज इन्स्योर गर्छ होला. अर्को भने चाहिँ वाइ उहाँले सोधा कुरा एकदमै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ. किन गरेर के गर्छ त भन्ने चिज चाहिँ आई थिङ्क वेन आई स्टार्टेड इट वाज अल अबाउट एक्सप्रेसिङ माइसेल्फ. अनि 4 years पछाडि 5 years हुन लाग्दा पनि इट्स अबाउट एक्सप्रेसिङ माइसेल्फ. सँगसँगै मैले चाहिँ यो कन्टेन्ट क्रिएट गर्दा आई थिङ्क त्यो क्रिएटिभ सेटिस्फ्याक्सन पाइरहेको छु जुन म इन्जिनियरिङ गरिरहेको नक्सा बनाइरहेको भए म त्यो पाउँदिनँ थिएँ होला. सो यसमा मलाई त्यो भएको कारणले आफूलाई मनपर्छ. तर एज आई ग्रो अप यो चाहिँ म जस्तै युथहरूसँग त्यही एज ग्रुपको पिपलसँग रिलेट गरेको हुनाले चाहिँ आई थिङ्क अब चाहिँ त्यो रेस्पोन्सिबिलिटी पनि फिल हुँदै गयो जस्तो लाग्छ. किनकि आई डोन्ट नो त्यो न्युज कसले लेख्नुभयो रिसेन्टली एउटा न्युज आएको थियो जेनजीहरूको बारेमा अनि इट वाज त्यहाँ के भनेको थियो भने जेनजी घोप्टे पुस्ता यिनीहरू अर्काको सुन्दैनन् यताउता भनेर सो त्यो खाले वेमा पोर्ट्रे गरिरहेको थियो तर भोलिको दिनमा चाहिँ तपाईँ त्यो युथलाई बङ्गलादेशमा त्यो भयो भनेर देखिसके पछाडि पनि त्यो युथलाई त्यसरी चिड्याउन खोज्नुहुन्छ भने त उनीहरूको भोइस पनि रिप्रेजेन्ट गरिदिने कोही त चाहियो होला नि त सो त्यसले त भोलिको दिनमा डेमोक्रेसीलाई नै विक गराउला अथवा उहीँ जस्तो केही गराउन सक्ला सो उनीहरूको भोइस चाहिँ आउनुपर्छ भनेर अहिले चाहिँ सो इट वाज अल अबाउट एक्सप्रेसिङ माइसेल्फ अथवा क्रिएटिभ सेटिस्फ्याक्सन मिल्छ मलाई मजा लाग्छ काम गर्न थियो तर एज अफ नाउ चाहिँ बिस्तारै 2-3 मन्थ धेर पनि भएको छैन 6 मन्थ जब उहाँले भने जस्तो हाम्रो त्यो एउटा क्याम्पेनले चाहिँ इम्प्याक्ट पार्न थाल्यो हामीले नम्बर पब्लिक गरिदिइसके पछाडि अडियन्सहरूले भ्युअर्सहरूले कल गरिदिएर चाहिँ त्यसले चाहिँ पार्लियामेन्टमा ल नै चेन्ज गर्न पनि सक्यो भनिसके पछाडि चाहिँ अब चाहिँ त्यो रेस्पोन्सिबिलिटी पनि फिल हुँदै गएर हामीले एउटा ग्रुपलाई नै मजाले रिप्रेजेन्ट गरिरहेको रहेछ जसलाई अगेन मेन स्ट्रिमले गर्न सकिरहेको रहेछ सो त्यो रिप्रेजेन्ट गरिरहेछ हामीले कभरिङ द अनकभर्ड त्यो चिज कभर नभएको चिजहरू कभर गरिरहेको रहेछ सो त्यो अब चाहिँ हामीले पनि रेस्पोन्सिबिलिटी फिल गरेर उनीहरूको आवाज ल्याउनुपर्छ उनीहरूलाई खोजा चिजहरू चाहिँ पस्किनुपर्छ भन्ने फिल भएर अहिले चाहिँ काम गरिरहेको हो त्यही हो
Okay, on cyber security and a lot of other things that has come through, especially about the quality of the conversation. I think it's a very important topic. I myself has been promoting a lot of things regarding cyber security and digital security, especially of the people who are in some way not into the right position to combat it if there are some issues come through this. But I also believe that for all the bad things that is happening, the best antidote is the correct thing of that. Let's say if it's a misinformation, if we consider misinformation is a problem, then the correct information is the best antidote. And if we say that the people are marginalized, the marginalized voice are not being raised by the media or by the content creator, the best antidote is to establish something that raises voices of this marginalized community. And I think that's an idea, that's a principle behind Global Voices as well, to kind of like give that voice to the people, to the communities that have traditionally not been heard well. So I think all your thoughts, I really agree with that. And obviously, again, I want to repeat that the best antidote for anything bad on the internet, everywhere, is the correct thing of that. And with that, before I still think we have a few minutes. So any final thoughts from my panelists? Any final thoughts? No? Sir?
साइबर सेक्युरिटीको बारेमा चाहिँ के भन्न मन लाग्यो भने मैले देखेको पछिल्लो पुस्ता अझै हामी भन्दा पनि पछिल्लो पुस्ताको चाहिँ कस्तो छ भने यो अलिकता एडोलेसेन्टहरुको लागि काम लाग्ने कुरा हो जस्तो हामीले सेक्युरिटीको बारेमा कुरा गरिरहेको हुन्छौं उनीहरुलाई सिकाइरहेको हुन्छौं कसरी युज गर्ने कसरी नगर्ने भनेर उहाँहरुको चाहिँ कस्तो हुँदो रहेछ भने आफ्नो पार्टनरलाई बोयफ्रेन्ड गर्लफ्रेन्ड हुन्छ हैन 10 11 12 15 वर्षमै अनि उहाँहरुले चाहिँ पासवर्ड एक्सचेन्ज गर्ने के सोशल मिडियाको पासवर्ड एक्सचेन्ज गर्ने अनि त्यो पनि दुई जना बीचमा मात्रै हैन कि साथीहरुको ग्रुपलाई नै थाहा हुँदो रहेछ कि उहाँहरुको अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि साइबर सेक्युरिटीको कुरामा चाहिँ अझै धेरै यङ जेनेरेसनले चाहिँ च्यालेन्ज भोग्छ कि जस्तो लाग्छ कि मलाई किनकि उहाँहरु आफैले नै केयरलेस गरिराख्नु भएको छ कि सो हामीले हाम्रो घरमा हुने भाइ बहिनीहरुलाई अथवा स्कुलमा हुने बालबच्चाहरुलाई चाहिँ कसरी सेफ तरिकाले यो कुराहरु सिकाउने जहाँ चाहिँ तिमी दुर्व्यवहारमा नपर्न सक्छौ भनेर चाहिँ हामीले नै उहाँहरुलाई अलिकता टिच चाहिँ गर्नुपर्छ ला यो मिडियाको रोल मात्रै भन्दा पनि अझ यो इन्डिभिजुअलको रोल चाहिँ हो जस्तो लाग्छ कि मलाई जस्तो मैले मेरो बच्चालाई तिमी सोशल मिडियाबाट पनि दुर्व्यवहारमा पर्न सक्छौ भन्ने कुरा मैले सिकाएँ र कसरी युज गर्ने भन्ने कुरा सिकाएँ भने मलाई लाग्छ यो च्यालेन्ज चाहिँ बिस्तारै कम हुँदै जान्छ र उ चाहिँ अनलाइनबाट कति धेरै दुर्व्यवहारमा परिरहेको हुन्छ नि त त्यो चाहिँ कम हुन्छ कि जस्तो लाग्छ सो यो जर्नलिजम अथवा मिडियाको मात्रै रोल भन्दा पनि एज अ इन्डिभिजुअलको रोल चाहिँ रेस्पोन्सिबिलिटी चाहिँ हो जस्तो लाग्छ थ्यांक यू
With these two young panelists here, I really feel like a dinosaur before the asteroid hits. But really, I think the challenges are great. we are all in the media business, but there are other crises out there that we have to think about. It's not just the medium we use, disseminate the news, but also, and what is that content supposed to achieve? It is supposed to achieve justice. It's supposed to achieve solutions to the climate breakdown. It's supposed to get accountable leaders elected. So if we keep that at the back of the mind, I think then there is a purpose to what we do. And no matter what tool we use, it'll still be effective.
Thank you very much, Kunal. I had something prepared to say at the end, but with that, I think it's a very nice note to end the session with. I thank you all for your participation. I thank you all my panelists here, and thank you to the Global Voices community for this opportunity to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ujjalji. Thank you, Kundaji. Thank you, Savitaji. Thank you, Sudeepji. And thank you, Kavitaji, for raising this issue of including an indigenous person here. And we have a lot of indigenous speakers in our panels, which is coming up next. And before that, I have two announcements to make. So if you are putting anything on social media, please use hashtag GBSummit24, GBSummit24, hashtag GBSummit24. And I have another announcement to make as well. So if you have taken this translation devices, please make sure to return it back before you leave the hall. So, and I have another interesting discussion. And thanks for this, from typewriter to large language model, artificial intelligence. It's really, everything is changing every day. Now we have more interesting discussion, which is all about blogging. I also started blogging in 2005, 2006. It was golden era of blogging. Now, where have all the bloggers gone? So this is our next panel discussion. So for that, do we need to swap the chairs? Do we need to swap the chairs, I guess, before I invite our panelists? No? Okay, thank you. So it's an honor to invite Ethan Zuckerman, one of the founders of Global Voices, to the dais, please. Thank you. And please join hands in welcoming Georgia, Managing Director, Global Voices, Mong Palatino, our Southeast Asia Regional Editor, Dinesh Wagle. Who doesn't know Dinesh Wagle in Nepal? So he is one of the bloggers who started blogging in Nepal. But Dinesh Wagle, Country Director, Nepal Westminster Foundation of Democracy. And last but not the least, Aparna Ray. The floor is yours. I'll get some mics to you guys. Thanks.
It's so wonderful to be here with you. My name's Ethan Zuckerman, along with Rebecca McKinnon. I'm one of the co-founders of Global Voices. And blogging has a very special place in my heart. This community, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary, started at a conference at Harvard University called Visiting Scholars at Harvard at that time. And we were very interested in this idea that maybe blogs weren't just going from around the world. We had people from Kenya, we had people from Iraq, from India, coming to Harvard University to have this conversation. And for the first years of Global Voices, the site and the community was in many ways just an aggregator of blogs. We would find people posting blogs around the world. We had huge lists of people in Georgia into the Global Voices community based on knowing what blogs to pay attention to, how to feature content from them. But something funny happened. Somewhere in the last 20 years, blogs went from a dominant online technology to a bit of a fringe online technology. And one of the things you're going to discover on this panel is that many of the people here are going to describe themselves as former bloggers, or are going to talk about how their blog space in which people are expressing themselves is more vital than ever. As we just saw on the last panel, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's podcasts, more than ever, people are finding ways to express different points of view online. But there was something very interesting and very special about blogs. And part of what we're going to try to discover here is what was that about blogs? What have we lost? What have we gained in some of those transitions? Was blogging a technology, a style of writing, a broader community that writers were interested in? Yes, to all of those. But it's also something that's still alive in a way that's very, very different from 20 years ago. So I'm going to introduce my wonderful... He's trained as a journalist and a fact checker, and in 2004, he co-founded Nepal's first blog with a high school friend and fellow journalist. He's no longer actively blogging, as I understand it, but this is a power responsible. So Dinesh, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. And can you tell us a little bit about the political moment in Nepal in 2004? Why was it so important for you to be able to write freely in an online...
I co-founded the blog that I'm going to talk about, and Tilak is also in the somewhere there, who is our 2 years ago he was blogging and is now interpreting from the box there. I was a journalist at the time in 2004 when we set up this blog website. My primary role was to cover technology and arts, music at the time. And then it was a byproduct of our journalism work. However, soon after the blog started, the king at the time took over, a democratically elected prime minister, and then imposed a coup. Newsroom were temporarily independently, but there were soldiers present to impose censorship. So the blogging platform was used as soon as internet was restored, the connection was restored, to bring out the information that the newspaper could not. And then soon, with thanks to the coverage by Kunda Dixit's Nepali Time at the time, and other international media like Reuters, BBC, the powerful people in Nepal at the time started learning about it. Not directly reading our blog, but reading about the reports of what our blog had written. So that was the cycle, right? So I'll maybe that is the scenario. And then we started supported the political movement, wrote against the king, and ultimately the movement succeeded, and that made the blogging a bit less relevant in the sense that the primary provider of information.
What would you say was the golden age of blogging in Nepal? That sort of period of time where newsrooms were constrained by the presence of soldiers, where bloggers became very active in setting the media agenda and involvement with the anti-monarchist movement. What was that period of time?
Well, around that a year and a half window was when some of my colleagues in the newspaper newsroom, they were telling that this is my pocket edition, which they would write a news, but newspaper wouldn't publish. So they would share those pocket edition reports with me, and I would translate that into English and then publish, or put that in, because the Nepali language blogging hadn't yet started because of the font issues. So essentially, all of us had come together as an act of volunteerism there was no money to be made, we did not. So journalism was the primary source of income for us at that time. And it was a passion, the mission. And then this actually aligns with how Nepali journalism was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, when there was autocracy, and then the media's sole mission, particularly the privately owned tabloid media's sole mission was to write for, with the purpose of restoring democracy.
So we're going to talk more in this session about the relationship between blogs and journalism, and obviously it's a complex situation. Many people involved with the Global Voices community have gone on to become journalists. The line between journalism and blogging, I would argue, has gotten very fuzzy over time. I want to turn to Aparna Ray next to talk about blogging maybe from a very different and often a very personal context. Aparna works at the intersection of the social sciences, community, technology, and innovation. Aparna's been a blogger since 2005, writing multiple different blogs. One about personal thoughts, one in Bangla for native speakers, one about international development. The longest lasting of all of these is one called Newsmericks, which comments on news in limerick form. Aparna is someone who has never been afraid to try a new way of writing and to back away from it when it's not meeting her needs. Aparna, what's still useful to you about blogging? Why is it still important to you?
I think blogging came to us, from 2005, when I don't want to call us naive, but we had this vision of connection, that we would be able to connect seamlessly to people elsewhere, not only on politics, but I feel that, of course there's politics, there's a lot of activism, but unless we understand people as people, we just see that, okay, this country has this problem and we also have this problem, but we don't understand the people. So my blogging started from that if we could share our thoughts and read other people's thoughts, and of course that writing was the medium, then we would be closer to each other and we would be a connected world. From there, I came to Global Voices in 2006 because there we were, again, we had the vision of bridge blogging. That's again about connection. At the same time, I was doing so many other things and I wanted to write about those, like ICT for development. I wanted to try Bangla, which was incredibly hard to write at that time because most often limericks are considered to be ribald and fun and, just provoke a laugh. And then I said, why not use a shorter attention span and present news and topical things in the limerick format? That daily, multiple things until 2014. And then my friends and other people said, okay, we don't want to go to blogs. You have to come to Instagram because that's where you can. But Instagram to me was a very visual medium. So I have to build my comfort. In fact, my Instagram account was built by, and then of course, other things happened. In India, Jio came and they disrupted the mobile technology by giving free mobile data for a year. And then we got data on the tap. Earlier data was quite expensive. And then people moved to videos. So again, it's a different medium. Then you have to have a visual. But that keeps going because I write maybe on Facebook, on groups. And sometimes I cross-post it. Sometimes I even forget to cross-post it. And Instagram, unfortunately, I haven't yet written. But on Twitter, we have like
changing media as the media changes.
Yes.
So one of the interesting things to remember in all of this is that 2004 was not a particularly technically sophisticated moment.
Yes.
We were mostly still using computers, sometimes desktop computers, laptop computers.
Absolutely.
Twitter doesn't come around until about 2007. At that point, most people are thumbing it out on a dumb phone, not even a smartphone.
Yes.
So we're just dealing with different technologies. In 2004, the easiest thing for people to create was long-form text. Do you think there are people who would still want to, or what you want to do as a writer, or more what you want to do as connecting with audiences?
I really like that in the last panel, the Gen Z panelists said that we have to go, where people are and go to TikTok. But my feeling is that in some of these very short mediums, you cannot really give the context, or you don't get the depth, and then therefore, to some extent, it impacts the connection. Like today, I'm seeing TikTok about the king being dethroned. Tomorrow, I'm seeing cat videos or dogs jumping over a fence. So, your attention just moves. I do feel there are people who want to write, but then, writing also restricts your audio. Great thing that, some of us are oral cultures, so maybe that will widen. And I'm looking to you, Georgia, for that. So maybe we do have to change our mediums, but still retain that depth of information that we want to share, which sort of, it's like a one-on-one communication where we understand the other person better.
So I'm going to turn over to my dear old friend Mong Palatino. Mong's been a blogger since 2004. He's an activist, an author, an editor, served 2 terms in the Philippines Parliament. Since 2008, he's edited Southeast Asia for Global Voices and the Asia-Pacific region for IFEX since 2017. I read everyone's blogs this morning, and I have to say Mong is the most active of any of us. Although his writing is often appearing in other publications like The Diplomat or IFEX. Mong, you're a really established.
First of all, I'm happy to be part of a panel where I don't have to explain that I'm a blogger that starts with a letter B, as in color blue, not vlogger with a letter V, as in violet. Because if you introduce yourself as a blogger now, the expectation is that you produce content mainly through videos. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm an old school blogger. Anyway, when I started blogging in 2004, the big idea at that time was not simply the idea of publishing. But if you remember at that time, the idea of interaction. Web 2.0 is about the comment section. It's not just about the content. The idea that anyone can publish, can write, and then through that platform, you reach a broader audience. And so I found blogging useful because I come from a community where you need to amplify voices. And through blogging, it helped me reach not just a broader audience, but amplify content and establish connections, not just in the Philippines, but also in other societies as well. And through blogging, I was able to, when I was in Parliament, I was one among the first to live tweet, blog about sessions, and it was a new thing at that time that for the sake of transparency, you have been posting photos, publishing content about committee sessions. And I think what is useful at that time was that you combine blogging and then microblogging.
Most active citizen media spaces in the world, which is wonderful in some ways. It's also very complicated. My dear friend Jonathan Ong at University of Massachusetts studies mis and disinformation in Philippines media, and there's enormous amounts. It's a very contentious, very complicated space. Do you feel like there are people who have established voices like yours over a long period of time who help people navigate through that complicated space? Or is it more about novelty? Is it more about new figures sort of emerging? Do people see you as someone who's been writing online for 20 years? Do they see you?
Million people marched in 2013 about corruption. And my most recent example is the 2022 election. The potent combination of online and offline spaces where you give out information and also advocacy. But I will go back to the community because that is very important. The threat of disinformation is really real. And what we learn is that it's not important, it's not enough that you give fact-checking reports. You have to remain in the
video in many ways, although I've worked professionally in video. And at the time, pre-social media, if you did a search on the internet for Trinidad and Tobago, my country, or Caribbean, there were a certain number of predictable images that would come up. Carnival, beaches, well, not so much our beaches, but Caribbean beaches. Although I should be fair to Tobago, which has classic Caribbean beaches. Trinidad does not have classic Caribbean beaches. Music was soca, calypso, but also there's a kind of greater diversity generally of music online. But there's also so much more engagement of a kind that I'd prefer not to have to deal with. But I am, and many of you in the room know that I'm actually stepping down as managing director next year. And I actually look forward to starting to blog and maybe podcast again. Podcasting, interestingly, professionalized much more quickly than the other areas of blogging.
Anyways, the way that you just described it, I think is a way that we often talk about Global Voices, which is a chance for people to sort of talk back myself for a moment and say, for me, a big part of what was so exciting about blogging in the early 2000s was discovery. It was a way of connecting to very unexpected spaces and hearing from people that you might not otherwise hear from. And it was this opportunity for surprise and serendipity, and obviously a lot of interpersonal connection. For each of you, and I'm going to start down at Aparna and sort of come back this way.
It's really inspiring how far it's come to bringing up new voices. But at the same time, for younger voices,
where are you finding other voices from around the world? What's your path?
Contacts, which is members of parliament or the provincial assemblies. So I am, because I feel that I am using that platform for the benefit, for my own benefit, which is bit skeptical in that part, but I'm all up for using that to,
Mong, how are you discovering new voices these days?
And for me, because when I started blogging, it was mainly about the Philippine.
To understand that YouTube, or sort of evolving over technology over time, and sort of addressing those blind spots.
Yeah.
But I know my friends are going to drag me. They always drag me into all kinds of situations. And very soon, possibly, will be dragging me into some other use of some other technology to put my numerics. But yes, I mean, I think it is important to recognize that technology is changing. People are changing. They are moving. And if you want to reach that broader audience, we have to change.
Facebook, they're doing sometimes very performative humor. They may even be sitting and doing 2 or 3 hours of podcasts, which has turned out to be this very
talent. And we are going to be
the kind of framing that they are using to deceive readers. So it is important that we are in spaces where we share similar voices, but also in spaces dominated by groups and personalities whose intent is to manipulate information, to better, to improve our way of correcting these manipulated operations.
It's amazing to think that sometimes in the early days of blogging, we did have conversations about what were people's secret motives, how were people manipulating conversations. Now, of course, social media has become a veritable battlefield around these issues. Dinesh, you've been kind enough to be with us in this conversation, and maybe we could ask your perspective as some listen to Nepal and listen more broadly at this moment of technological change and real change in the media environment.
Yeah, I have benefited from the platform of Global Voices back in the days when our blogs would feature in the roundup. That would give us a broader audience. So obviously that mission, I think, needs to continue. For example, you know, the language translation, what is being said in one language, if it could be easily gets through in another language, that would be appreciated. Just to give an example, you know, people talk about in Nepal's case, for example, the Supreme Court may be giving some verdict that could be cited as a best case example of jurisprudence in other court systems, but because they are exclusively written in Nepali and the audience is limited within the geography, that doesn't go, right? That is not cited. Whereas if you see in Nepali verdict, you'll see court verdicts from other various jurisdictions are cited. That is because of the language, right? That comes into. So maybe that is one I'd like to say. But other, as I said, earlier point made was about the traditionally marginalized group that doesn't have enough representation in terms of both voice, but also the people's representation. Would be good to see that represented as well.
I think that point about making sure that the rest of the world is learning from the linguistic aspect of that and how important the translation work is. Aparna, all through this conversation, you've been really thoughtful about this idea that social media is social. It's about connecting with other people. But it's also about how we discover who we are and we express ourselves. What's your advice for the Global Voices community at a moment where long-form blogging is not, you know, the dominant path, but there are so many different ways in which people are expressing themselves in these spaces?
I always feel that in today's day, given that everyone's expressing themselves in really short formats, it doesn't allow for really explaining. So one, of course, Mong said that context, providing the context is important, but I also see it like a kind of knitting. You know, people are just have so many snapshots, and maybe Global Voices can knit it together so that we have a comprehensive understanding. And of course, in multiple languages where lingua comes in, and it's great that it's not only in English, but you know, the Spanish community can really understand what's happening in Nepal clearly. And so it's as if like we become language agnostic. I also see a great role for audio, because I think many of our cultures traditionally are oral cultures, and writing did I mean, there was a limit to writing and reading. You know, like you need the literary population, you need English language knowledge. But what if we made it all agnostic? So, you know, looking at also some kind of multimedia, I see in different languages. And I think knitting the whole fabric together would be my vision.
Well, let's acknowledge the oral culture that underlies pretty much every culture in the world, and see if we can open up very briefly for some questions or comments from the floor. Do we have a mic that we can bring around? Great. So if you could make your way down to the mic if you've got a question or comment for... Great. Do we have a hand up there? Lovely. Try it again.
While you were speaking, you mentioned something very important known as calypso. Yeah, I remember this in the literature at the university where I was a student in 2005. And you said that it played a great role on blogging, right? So how is it at that time? And what is the place it occupies now at GV different platforms? Thanks.
Okay, maybe I'll rephrase what I said a bit. What I said is that at the time I started blogging, if you searched for information about my country, Trinidad and Tobago, you would find Calypso, though I agree with you that Calypso is very important and there needs to be a lot of it online. But my comment was about the fact that that was the only music form that was associated with the country. Music, and about music forms that were adjacent to Calypso or influenced by Calypso. There's one, some friends of mine have a musical group in the form of a Calypso adjacent art form called Rapso. And they actually gave me access to them as interviewees and to their music. And they actually experienced quite a moment at the
schedule for today's summit, and up next we have tea break. You can find the tea being served right at the registration corner. Also an announcement, if you have any belongings, please take it with you, as we will be dividing this ballroom into Regal Ballroom A and B for the next session. So please take your bags, laptops, your belongings with you. See you right at 12 p.m.